8 operations is a game where we're trying to create the highest number we possibly can using the operations shown on the screen. We've got 2 multiplications, 3 additions and 3 subtractions. We're going to be using whole numbers from -6 to 6, and they're represented with the 2 dice. The only number we're not going to use is the number 0. Prior to starting the game, what we'll do is we'll allocate one of the dice to represent a positive or negative number and the other dice to represent the number itself. So we can see here on the screen that the dice in red will represent the number, and we'll use the other dice, shown in green and purple, to represent whether it's positive or negative. So for this game, what we'll do is we'll allocate 1, 2 or 3 for the green there to be representing a negative number, and the numbers 4, 5 and 6 will represent that it's a positive number. So the first roll on our dice might be something like this. We've got a 1 on 1 dice representing a negative, and the other numbers are 4. So our first roll represents a number -4. And at this stage, this becomes our running total. If we roll the dice again, we get a number 2, and this is where we have to decide what operation we're going to do to try and maximize our score at the end of using the 8 operations. So for the sake of this example, what we'll do is we'll add the 2. So that means that we get -4 plus 2 is -2, and we cancel one of the operations, in this case the addition. Let's work through the remaining rolls of the dice to see how this example plays out. So the next rolls are 6. Keeping in mind we're trying to maximize a score at the end, we want to try and build our score up. So we choose the addition operation, and we end up with a running total now of -2 plus 6 equals 4. So 4 is our new running total, and we've cancelled out another of the addition operations. On the next roll, we get a -5. And the best thing to do to maximize our score here would be to subtract a negative number, which is like adding. So the operation we're going to use here is to subtract, and we cancel out one of the subtract operations, and the running total now is 9. The fifth roll of the dice ends up being a 6. So being a larger number, what we'll do is we'll utilize that by doing a multiplication, and we end up with our running total being 54, coming from 9 multiplied by 6, and we cancel out one of the multiplication operations. So we've got 4 operations to go. Now the danger, of course, is we might end up with a negative number and we have to multiply at the end. We want to try and avoid that, but there's a risk element involved in that. The next roll is a -4. And again, subtracting a negative is the same as adding, so we'll use a subtract operation here. That means that we've got one of each operation left. The 7th roll is a -1, so again we'll do a subtraction of a negative, and we end up with 59 as our running total, and all our subtractions are gone. So there is a danger now that if we get another negative number, our total will reduce. Possibly even if we multiply a negative, we'll end up with a negative number well away from a possible maximum. The 8th roll of the dice is -4, and that means we have to use one of the other operations, addition or multiplication. We'll use the addition, and we get 55 as our running total. So at this point, with one multiplication left, we're very much hoping for the number being positive. A negative number used in multiplication means our result will actually go backwards significantly. So the final roll is 2, which is fortunate for us because it's a positive. And that means our overall total is 55 multiplied by 2, which gives 110. Once all 8 operations are used, that's the conclusion of the game. It's a game that can be played in small groups, or it can be played with the whole class using the same numbers.